Hello everybody, I hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at your weekly forecast spanning from today, which would be the 2nd of February, all the way until next Sunday, which would be the 9th. Now before we do get into it, please consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss a video when I do upload. Now we're going to be going over temperature anomaly forecast as well as your precipitation anomaly forecast, and we're going to be going over where you could be drier or wetter than normal, as well as where you could be colder or warmer than normal. Then we're also going to get into a special event segment of the video at the very end of the video, so make sure you are staying tuned all the way until the end. Now we're going to start off here with your precipitation anomaly forecast, and this is going to be where you're going to see how much precipitation you could be expecting compared to your average, and this is including snow, sleet, freezing rain, and just rain. So all of those are counting, and it's going to show you where you're drier and wetter than normal. So starting off there below average, where it's going to be drier, you're slightly below average region, and this is going to be a very active week in terms of precipitation here. You're going to be seeing slightly below average here for much of the central part of the country, and then into the southern Rockies there, and into parts of the southwest, where you could be expecting some slightly below average conditions. Now let's get into your second shade here of moderately below average. We have two areas here. We have one for the north central United States and one for the southwestern United States. These areas could be getting under a tenth to potentially from under a half to a tenth of an inch to even some of these areas receiving no precipitation for the entire week, and a very widespread area as you get into the southwest, where areas from about the western part, the westernmost part of Texas, all the way until the coastal part of California could not be seeing any precipitation this week. So it's going to be a very dry week if you do live in those areas. Now, we also have a well below average region here, and this can be for parts of California, Nevada, Arizona, and into New Mexico, as well as the Dakotas and Minnesota there. These are the regions where I expect you to see no precipitation, or at least very, very minimal precipitation here, and that's why I put you under a well below average. Now, we're going to start getting into where you're going to see more precipitation than normal, starting off with your slightly above average here, and we have that over parts of the northern Rockies, as well as much of the areas basically east of the Mississippi River. Pretty much everyone there is going to be seeing some slightly above average conditions. Now in this first shade, not going to be too noticeable that you're above average, but as you get to the second shade of moderately above average, you're definitely going to notice that you've had a lot of storms, or a lot of at least a lot of storminess or snowfall, depending on what area you live in your area, and that's going to be where you're in that moderately above average. It's going to be well above average compared to normal. We even have a well above average here over parts anywhere from southern New England through the northeast and mid-Atlantic and into parts of the southeast there, and all the way down into the deep south, where you're seeing those well above average conditions. You're going to have this one storm, which is Winter Storm Cade, recently named. If you remember, the last storm system that we had, very disappointing. Didn't give anybody really a lot of precipitation, snowfall, rainfall. It really didn't have a lot of energy with it. So that one didn't even get named by the Weather Channel. So instead of being named Winter Storm Lamont, which it would have been if that storm was named, now it's Winter Storm Cade. So I'll definitely be uploading on that as we do get closer to this event, and I'll probably upload it on it by Monday, and probably have my snowfall forecast at least for the first half of the system. Maybe not the second half for the parts of the Northeast and Ohio Valley where I'm less certain, but definitely we will have updates for those areas if you are impacted with Winter Storm Cade. Now, let's get into your temperature anomaly forecast here, and this is going to show you where it's warmer or colder than average. We have this large swath of above average here, and it's going to be for parts of the west through the central and northern Rockies, into parts of the central United States, into parts of the eastern United States. All of these areas are going to be experiencing above average conditions. If you're just in this first shade, it's not going to be too noticeable, but as you get into the second shade of moderately above average, it should be more noticeable. If you live out on the west, expect a cool down by probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then it'll kind of warm back up as you get later on in the week. So that's why I put you only in slightly above average, and some of these areas I only put in average. because you will be experiencing some colder air along with that warmer air. So it's going to kind of average out, I think at least, it's going to average out a little bit warmer, just a tad bit on the warmer side. So I put you guys in slightly above average, but definitely could average out near normal or even tilting slightly below normal. So that's really going to have to depend on the strength of this cold air. Now, moderately above average conditions are going to be stretching all the way from Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, Missouri, eastward basically through parts of the southeast, Great Lakes, and into the northeast and mid-Atlantic, where you could be expecting some moderately above average conditions, where almost all of your days this week are going to be above average by a couple degrees at least, and multiple days are going to be about 5 to 10 degrees above average. So expect a very warm week if you do live in these areas. Now, here's even your third shade of above average or well above average area, and this is going to be for the East Coast, except for parts of the southern half of Florida, where I do expect you to be a little bit colder in the early part of the week. So I didn't want to put you in well above average, just a moderately above average. But for the rest of the East Coast, looks to be well above average. A couple days could be nearing if you live in the. I was looking at the European model, and if you do live in the southern New England to about Maryland and Delaware, there could be a couple days where you're about 30 degrees above average. So definitely warrants a well above average color here. And then even in the southeast and mid-Atlantic, there's going to be days where it's 20, 25 degrees above average. So it's going to be a very warm week on average for this area. Now, let's get into your below average region here. And this is going to be for parts of the north central United States, over the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and into the northernmost parts of Michigan, where I expect it to be slightly below average. So nothing too noticeable, but you will have definitely a warm up earlier in the week, but then later in the week, I do expect you to get closer to negatives or even below zero. In terms of temperatures here, and temperatures could be about 20 degrees below average, and I don't think it's going to get too warm in your area if you do live in this area. So I'm going to put you under slightly below average, and I think it's really on the lower end of that scale. It's going to be closer to average, but I think it's going to tilt just below average if you do live in those areas. Now let's get into your special note segment of the video, and this is going to be we only have one special event here that's going to be going on, and this is going to be Winter Storm Cade. So basically, I'm going to kind of go over this a little bit more in depth. We only have one special note this week. It's going to be a fairly boring week if you were to take Winter Storm Cade away, but Winter Storm Cade is going to be infecting or impacting parts of the really much of the United States here, where anywhere from the northwest to the southeast are going to be impacted by the same system. You're going to get this little stream of moisture, the specific jet stream, to kind of push in all of this moisture onto the northwest coast. Now, as that moisture continues to come in, you're already seeing this breakup in a little band of snowfall, which we are going to talk about come Monday or tomorrow about more about this. And as this little band moves on, it's going to meet with this energy coming out of the Pacific from western Mexico all the way, and also for parts of the Gulf. You're going to see all that moisture come up. It's going to originate and it's going to bring some severe weather to the south with a little bit of energy that's going to also be pushed northward. As these two meet in the middle, here's Winter Storm Cade. It's going to be made right around here, where it's going to kind of meet up with that southern piece of the jet stream and that northern piece of the jet stream. Areas already in the central and northern Rockies experiencing pretty treacherous conditions over those areas, and some areas could receive 1 to 2 feet of snowfall. And then as you get further to the east, according to some models, we're experiencing about 4 to 6 inches. If you do live in really, if you do live in this area, I would say you have a good chance for about 4 to 6 inches, and that could go a little bit north, a little bit south, and that's what we're going to be talking about in tomorrow's video. So make sure you are staying tuned. There is a lot that can still change. We also have a severe weather aspect with Winter Storm Cade. We have some severe weather, according to the Storm Prediction Center. We have a risk here for Texas, Oklahoma, and into Louisiana as we get into your day 3, which I believe would be on Tuesday. And then as you get into your Wednesday, it's going to be more shifted around here. And then as you get into Thursday, your severe weather is more in around the southeastern coastal areas. So it's definitely going to be going to bring a lot of different effects. It's going to have a lot of freezing rain as well with it as you get into the northeast and Great Lakes, which we've had a couple storms in those areas that this year that have brought a lot of ice. So it's gonna be a very interesting storm to plan out, and I'll definitely have my snow and rain forecast out for this event probably by tomorrow or on Tuesday, depending on how much time I have. So that is going to wrap it up with this video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turn on notifications so you don't ever miss a video when I do upload. And I make these videos daily, so make sure you have your notifications on so you don't miss when I upload. Anyways, guys, that was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.